It's a blessing to welcome on one of the top players in Boston College upcoming season, a senior and one of the leaders of the team, Steffon Mitchell. How you doing?
Good, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Let's just get right into this. It's been a crazy offseason getting ready for this, but your senior year has arrived now. Take us through how excited you are to get the season started.
Yeah, this is gonna be a crazy season, but we're all excited. We got a lot of tough teams on our schedule this year, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
We're gonna get into this in a little bit, but I kind of want to go back. You choose Boston College coming out of high school, coming out of Sunrise for your post grad year. Why did you decide to go that route?
I had about 19 so Division 1 offers, but they weren't the offers I was really looking for.
Mhm.
So I decided to go down to Sunrise, get play post grad year, lift, get work on my game a little better, and then I was waiting for a high major offer, and Boston College was my first one.
We see these situations a lot where throughout high school the rankings are so hyped up, but you're a guy that gets the opportunity to go out there and you pretty much start majority of your freshman year and since then as well as an unranked player. How was your mindset heading into Boston College? Was that what you're expecting?
Uh, I was expecting that, but I don't think people across the ACC and people across the teams I play with, and even people in my home state, I've always thought that I was good enough to play anywhere I wanted, and
Mhm.
that I think rankings really don't mean anything. They're just about how publicized you can be, and some people were more publicized than me. So I think that's why they got to go the offers I didn't get. So it's all good though.
Now, when you're going through this recruiting process, we know Boston College ultimately where you choose. Who else was in the running for you?
Wichita State, Central Michigan, Iowa State, and Northeastern, and all those. I had a lot of mid-major offers, so I just didn't have many high major offers.
What would you say was the biggest thing that separated BC from everyone else?
I think that they showed like that there was a spot needed for me right away,
Mhm.
and also like BC separated themselves because they are in the ACC, and I think that's the best conference in the country. So if you can prove you can play the ACC, like that looks better at the next level. So that's one of the reasons why I chose them.
So you get on campus for your freshman season. As you said, not a lot of people expected you to play a significant role and have the impact you had. What was your mindset? First day of practice, how did you go in there as a freshman?
Yeah, how I went in there was just I got to do the little things to get minutes right away. So I was rebounding, playing defense, and stuff like that just from the get go. And like coaches didn't know I could defend and rebound at such a high level. So that's why I made myself valuable in that aspect.
So often, guys that score a lot in high school want the same mentality that they go to college, they're going to score the same amount. You've done the thing that makes guys successful, that makes guys that become pros, and that's accepting a role and not just accepting it, but mastering it. When did
Yeah.
you realize that you could become an elite rebounder and you really want to specialize on that and the defensive end?
Yeah, I've always loved defense. And in high school I scored about 25, 26 a game, and that like ACC that everybody can score, and that's nice if you can do that. But I think in the next level, they're even looking at like you got to be able to do something more. Like, you got to be able to stop somebody, get rebounds, push on the fast break, and that's something I can do. So I just try to separate myself.
You go throughout the course of the year, I think it's game 7, 8 or so that you get the starting job against Nebraska. How'd you know that that was going to become your new role?
I didn't. One of our players went down, and I was the next man up in that spot because I was playing six man before then.
Mhm.
And then I knew what I had to do is just keep up what I've been doing, then add a little bit more.
That team was a special team. You have two guys
Yep.
that are now in the NBA, Jerome Robinson, a former lottery pick, Kai as well as a big time player.
Yep.
What was that team like?
Oh, that team was awesome. That team was really good. We actually Jordan Chatman too was
Mhm.
very big for us. It was just a fun team to be around. If like you never know what would happen if Roman came back one more year, it could have been a different story for my sophomore year. But that team, those are my favorite teams.
And so you're with these guys, learning from them, guys that eventually become pros. What are something that they kind of led you and or taught you throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, they taught me a lot of things about just how to deal with the ups and downs. That every day is not not gonna have a great day on the court. You're gonna have bad games and stuff like that. You miss shots. You gotta be able to take the next one. You gotta move on quickly. You can't get too high. You can't get too low.
And those practices, I can imagine, especially those two guys going at it, two guards. How intense were those two matchups?
Oh, it was pretty intense. I think that's like another way I shaped up to be a competitor because our practices were such high intensity, and they've been every year, but people just go at each other. But those were special matchup.
Anyone that watches you guys play always come away saying that you're the guy that brings energy, you're a leader, you lay it all out on the court. What does it take for you to set the tone? Having guys kind of follow you in that aspect, what does it take for you to leave it all on the court?
Yeah, I'm trying to win games. Most important thing. The stats really don't. The stats will come. I know no matter what that like the better your team does, the better you look as an individual. And I know that for me to get to where I want to be, we have to be successful. So I do everything I can to help us win games. If that's scoring, I at Virginia Tech I had 21 points, and against another team this year I had 21 points. If that's rebounding, where I get 15, 16 rebounds, passing, 11 assists, stuff like that, steals, I'll really do it all just to win games.
Absolutely. I want to go back a little bit. I've read some stories about you. Growing up, you're someone that's always competitive, rather it be playing with just your brother, if he's going to the shower, if it was playing any kind of sport possible. How was that competitive drive instilled in you? Were you born with that, or did it kind of develop just at a young age?
Yeah, it kind of developed at a young age when my dad was a varsity coach at the time, so because of him, I got to play with varsity players when I was in fifth, sixth grade. So like, they're playing harder against me because I'm a younger kid, and that's like it's like a statement thing. So like they just taught me how to be competitive. I'm watching them leave it all on the line every time they play me. So I'm thinking like this is normal. And then I just have a great group of people around me in my AAU teams that were just like all competitors, Sunrise, a bunch of we're all competing every day. So that really shaped me into like who I am and how competitive I am. I still talk to some of my prep school guys, like we're all still competitive with each other, like stats and stuff like that with wins and losses. So like it's just what we do.
As a young guy growing up trying to find the sport that you love, when did it truly basketball separate themselves from everything else and you knew that you had a future in basketball?
Yeah, I think I've always told my parents and teachers since about fifth, sixth grade. I was just like, this is gonna be my sport. This is
Mhm.
I can be the next Division 1 player that comes out of this town. So and then I just try to put the work in with people around me. But I knew from a very young age that this is what I wanted to do and this is what I could do.
I want to get into Coach Christian. He's a great coach. He's the one that brought you out there. He's now been your coach for the past 3 years.
Yep.
How has you guys bond grown from the point where he's recruiting you now to not having that 3 year relationship with him?
Yeah, it's improved every year. I think that he's a great coach. I think he sees things differently than other people, and I think our relationship has just developed even better throughout the years. He's just somebody that just thinks everything through, and it's just like if like quick game adjustments, it's just perfect. I like we've played games where offensively it's just been special.
When you're looking at talking to him as a leader, what's some stuff that he kind of talks to you about that he wants you to set the tone for the locker room? What's kind of the identity of a team that he wants you to kind of build now for your senior year?
Yeah, he wants me to be more of a vocal leader in the locker room. I talk sometimes like, but that's more on the court and in practice. But like
Mhm.
he wants me to talk before games, after game, and stuff like that, before after practices. But I'm working on to be better at that. I'm just somebody in games and practice. I leave it all out on the line every time, and I'm showing what I am as a leader. It's like I'm doing the dirty work and stuff like that. Like we all can do this. We all are going to be successful this way.
We all know that there are ups and downs in any relationship, especially in the basketball court, kind of disagreeing, agreeing. And there was one story that coach called you stubborn in. You guys were back and forth about 10 minutes about if you should have shot a shot or not. What was the experience in that time like?
Yeah, it's just that me and Coach Christian have such a great relationship that I feel I can say anything to him and just like and not be taken the bad way. I know the game he was talking about that me and him were arguing about a shot. It's like I passed up a shot, but I thought somebody else was wide open. So like passed it to them. They didn't make it, however, but I'm still like I still think that's the best basketball play. And he was just like the best play for you to shot, and we just went back and forth on that. But I think being stubborn is a good quality to have on the court in that aspect.
How important for a player's growth and development is having a coach that is open to you can express your emotions and express how you feel? How important is that to a player?
Oh, it's really important. I did like sometimes I'm just like asking and like learning like why I did this or like why is this not the right basketball play. So he's just great in that aspect where he's just like, yeah, well, you see what you did here. Like he listens to me, he hears my thoughts on why that was a good play or a bad play, and then he's just like, well, if you look at the statistics or if you look at who we're playing, this was either right or wrong, and then now for the future I just know better.
Let's head into your sophomore year now. You go out there, you guys have 14-17 record. Jerome's in the NBA. Kai's still out there. What
Yep.
was that year like?
That was a tough year. That was a tough year. I was hurt for a lot of that year,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize the toll it takes on your body throughout like playing one ACC season. And I just didn't like the teams had a lot of up and downs. We were all had injury prone that year, which was very very tough, and that's just demoralizing.
A lot of high school guys and freshmen come in not knowing what it takes to play college level basketball, let alone ACC basketball.
Yep.
How would you tell a freshman, and even guys coming in on your team now, how do you kind of get them prepared now to maintain the body, not only for this upcoming year, but for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I tell them every day is like if you can, you gotta get treatment, and I'm telling them that like even in practice, like is not nowhere as physical as what these games are gonna be. Because sometimes in practice, like it's high school, they're not used to like certain fouls being called, and like if you have a ref in practice, like those refs like call everything in practice, but in games they're not making those calls. So I'm trying to express to them like this is either gonna be a foul or this is not gonna be a foul, and this has to change because like the physicality from high school and college is just something just crazy different.
And in practices, does coaches ever allow it to get pretty physical? If it's in the off season, I can imagine, probably not in season, but do you guys ever get practice where you guys get really physical?
Yeah, we like live aspect when we go like see if two people like clash for a rebound or two people go up trying to block a shot and stuff like that. Is that like walling up? Is sometimes there's a lot of body contact, but if you go vertical, like it's not a foul. But sometimes in practice they'll call it a foul. In reality, it's just like nobody's getting that call in the game, which is like I'm trying to tell them that like might be a foul in practice, but in game, and you're looking for this call, you're probably not going to get it.
And when you're going through a year, and obviously it's hard to maintain that when you're having injuries, guys go down, to be able to stay successful, get true chemistry. But if you
Mm-hmm.
could go back to that season, how would you maintain or maybe manage that season a little bit better, if even with the injuries?
If I could do that season over again, I would have spent way more time on the little things of like taking care of my body,
Hmm.
just the minor things. And I think that if we as a team could have all decided that this is something we all have to do, because I know that multiple people missed multiple games that year, so that's something that just won't work, and that can't happen.
Junior season was a little bit better, especially for yourself. You have career numbers across the board, all ACC team, all defensive team. What was last year like?
It was a fun year last year. There's a couple games we lost that we shouldn't have that were very tough, but we have our core back this next year that and we added some great players. So last year was a fun year. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot about my game. I learned a lot about our team and stuff like that. So I had a fun year last year for the most part, except for when we weren't winning games.
There's one game we have to focus in on. Virginia Tech, February, 21 points, 15 rebounds, both your career highs. You also have 6 assists, 2 blocks. One of only 5 players to do that in the past decade. What went into that game?
Just nothing. Just I know our team was struggling to score the ball, and like I'm trying to win games. So if I can score the ball, I'm going to score the ball. And like that, I wasn't. I've been working on like I know historically I've struggled on the free throw line, but that game I think 10 for 12, and that's something that like as the games go, if it's closer, I feel like I'm a good free throw shooter. And I don't. I think I went 6 for 7 in the last 2 minutes of the second half and overtime. So that's something I feel like I can just thrive on. I was hitting jump shots and creating offense for my teammates, offensive rebounding, which is another one of my strengths. But it was a fun game.
Now we talked about earlier how you did have the offensive game at a high level in high school, and that was a flash. You've had a couple different flashes. For your
Mm-hmm.
upcoming senior year now, are there gonna be more chances of you scoring? Are you gonna be put in more positions to score more?
Yeah, just like having more confidence is a big thing when you struggle with freshman. When I struggled freshman sophomore year, it's a little bit of doubt sometimes, but I've conquered what I needed to conquer in that aspect. I feel confident as an offensive player that I can do certain things that I couldn't do in the past. So this year, I do expect to have more opportunities to score.
To see you become the all ACC category, to have an all defensive team, where were you when you learned about that, and what did it mean for you to be a part of the selections?
Yeah, I was at the hotel room and they said that like you've been selected as all ACC and then first team all defense, which was I think I led the ACC in steals and was one of the top in defensive rebounding, and that's just something that I thought was was something that was coming because I thought I was one of the best defenders in the ACC. I think I proved that on a night in, night out basis. So I, I wasn't surprised by those.
This was a much different offseason than typical. You guys don't have the midsummer trainings. It was
Yeah.
there's a lot of yourself by yourself, quarantine, working out however you did that. But what were the main things you focused in on?
I was lucky because my dad worked at a high school, so I was still in the gym, still lifting, still stretching, still doing the little things that like. The only difference from this past year that to regulars, I wasn't with my teammates. I was with myself and my dad.
What were the biggest things you focused in on improving on?
I think one of the biggest issues I proven on was shooting at a higher rate. I think coming off the screens, I can shoot pretty well now. Spacing out the floor, moving, shooting while moving, finishing on the rim, stuff like that.
I mentioned earlier that you have had a lot of flashes of scoring. Last year, near at 7 points or 8 points a game. Do you expect that number to be in the double digits next year?
Um, I would like. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I'm trying to win games, and if that's what my team needs for me to get 10, 12, 13, 14 points a game, I will do it no matter what. But if that's not the case, I'm not judging my season on how many points I score.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's just 1 year difference between junior and senior, but that is a big jump in terms of your name. It's your senior year now. You're the leader of a team. Everyone looks up to you. You've been in the system now for a few years. How do you accept this new role?
Yeah, I think I've been showed by so many great pros like you talked about earlier, like Jerome and Kai that were talking to me about like just watching them put in the work and stuff like that. That I've put in the work. I've done the stuff I need to do to get to that level.
Now, technically, because of the new rule, it is your senior year, but you might also have another free year after this. Is
Yeah.
that something you're going to look into doing?
Um, I don't really know. I know like my goal is again to play at the next level,
Mm-hmm.
like play at the NBA, and that's something that if I can do after this year, I would love to do that. And if there's some way that our season doesn't go the way I'm expecting or like the way college basketball is expecting, then I wouldn't rule that out. But I would prefer to to be able to go to the next level after this year.
What about this rule? What's your thoughts when you heard about it, saying it's technically a free year, it's not going to go against eligibility? What was your thoughts, both you and as a team?
For my thought is, I feel like this is like AAU. I feel like you can go like round up a couple of like really good players and like you go stack a team like, and I think that even like for freshmen, incoming freshmen next year, I think it's gonna be way harder for them to earn minutes if
Mm-hmm.
people do stick around because you got to beat out fifth years and guys that have already been there that played at that level. So I think that's gonna be tough for them to really like beat competition because it'd be tough in that aspect. But like from the AAU aspect, I feel like you can go like grab like 4 or 5 people and go like any school you want, and
Mm-hmm.
instantly like the power of like college basketball could change by like a couple players' decisions. Like if you go team up with like a couple really good players at like a school that's really not had a history of being really good, like you can take spots from other teams.
I think the biggest thing that's come to my mind first was the record books. You're a guy even that's been starting now for a few years. You're getting up there in terms of college records and especially school records. We see guys even like Marcus Howard, if he could have stayed another year, come the
Yeah.
all-time leading scorer, could have easily happened. How many records do you think will be altered because of this?
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's a couple great scorers last year that like if they could have came back, they might. I know the dude from Seton Hall was a great scorer,
Mm-hmm.
Powell, but like there would be a lot of record books. I don't know if they're gonna be mean the same amount as like the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I wouldn't care that like if someone broke the scoring record, I'd just give them props because like or like like a record that like you still broke it technically, so
Mm-hmm.
that's still impressive. But I think the people that did it in the shorter period of time is gonna be weighed a little bit more.
You did mention the incoming freshmen now, the 2021 guys. That is a big concern for people. You're going to have guys that 5, 6, even if you've done a red shirt in a program, how would you possibly manage that for if you're a coach? How are you going to balance bringing in freshmen, but also knowing you've got a much more veteran and older team?
Yeah, I think that's a tough thing for coaches because I know that like coaches might prefer older classmen than younger classmen if like for the first for the first year because like you don't have to teach them as much. They already know how to like how the game works. They're proven at that at a certain level that they can like what you're gonna get and you can get more, but like you for certain high school kids you don't know what you're gonna get and it's like a gamble. But
Hmm.
like if you're a fifth year play like a senior this year, like a junior, like it's tough. Like you kind of know what you're gonna get, so it's easier to sign up for it.
Absolutely. Now there are two freshmen in your team this year. DeMar is a guy that people are pretty excited for. Justin's another big, solid player. What do you expect
Yeah.
for those two this upcoming year?
Yeah, Demar and Justin are looking really good in practice. Demar is a big body, athletic, can finish a lot around the rim, and Justin is very skilled. Great shooter, good passer, has a great feel for the game.
Long term now, how do you think they're going to fit both up this upcoming season in the team or even down the road?
I think both are gonna fit really well. I know Justin is gonna keep getting better. I know he loves working, so that's something you can never knock for somebody to do. And Demar is just an athletic freak that he's only way he's going up. His body's already ready for the ACC, and that's something that he has an advantage on over most freshmen.
Can BC fans expect to see either one of those in the rotation this year?
I believe so. I don't think I think our team is very deep. I think there's a possibility of playing many lineups.
Hmm.
So I think BC has a great chance of seeing them.
Absolutely. One final thing then, give BC fans your final goals that you want for either this senior year or if it comes to the other one, your second senior year.
My goal for us this year is to go to the NCAA tournament. I think we have the team to do it. I think if we can stay healthy, I think it's almost a guarantee that we can go to the tournament.
Hmm.
I think all and of course I don't know with the coronavirus with like stuff that could happen, how many times that can knock out players and teams.
Hmm.
But this team is one of the deeper teams we've had, and I think BC has a lot to be excited for. And I know our first four games are like very hard games, but they're winnable games because you never know what's going to happen. So I think that I think they're going to be able to tell that there's going to be something exciting coming from us.
I did want to bring up one thing you said about the coronavirus. We know we've seen both the NFL and now MLB while they did before the bubble. A lot of guys would be coming in and out with the coronavirus. Rather be a couple guys in rotation, a starter there, coach there, here and there. How do you guys plan to balance that out throughout the year if that does happen?
Yeah, I have no idea because like I know that some of our requirements are some like 21 days that if you get it,
Hmm.
you can't do anything. But I know if you get contract trace, that's 14 days or
Hmm.
10 days. So like you'll have teams that can't play games because they don't have like you need to have a deep team this year more than anything else because if one of your team like gets positive, like knock on wood, but if I got positive in like December, then I'm gone for almost the whole month. Like I can't like there's nothing I can do. Like it's not like I can like say, yo, I still feel fine, but like I have the virus, so I can't play for 21 days. And I start from ground zero. Gotta work back in conditioning, gotta do all get back into shooting. Like it's a
Hmm.
process, it's a tough process.
And that is the hard part because staying away from basketball, it's a thing they should be involved in at least 6 days a week. You're not
Yeah.
able to go to facilities and all that right then.
Yeah,
How
you
would
just
you
sleep
get your
inside the
body, keep the
hotel.
body in shape to be able to go out and play after that 21 days?
I mean, I know people sometimes talk about some push-ups and some sit-ups, but I don't know what you can do in that. Like you're gonna start randomly rocking off some push-ups and like sit-ups, but I'm pretty sure the trainer is gonna give you something, but it's
Mhm.
not gonna be basketball game shape. It's gonna take you a while to get back to that shape, maybe a couple of days, but you never know what's gonna happen.
I think it is inevitable that there probably will be some kind of cases somewhere throughout the country throughout the year.
You know,
How much would this possibly skew the season?
that's what I'm saying. You never know. What's
Hmm.
like my any individual this year could have a completely like awkward year because they can't get really a foot in the door. Meaning like if one of their friends gets COVID, but their contract stays, that's 10 days. They can't do anything. They
Hmm.
get COVID, that's 21 days. Can't do nothing. Another one team members get it. You can't play that game. So some people might only get to play 10, 12 games, which is I think why the NCAA gave that rule.
Hmm. I know a lot of people are doing the bubble formats, meaning that there's most likely not going to be fans for at least the games for the beginning of the year. How are you going to adjust to that? Not having volume, not having the fans, which you guys have good fans. How are you going to adjust to that?
I don't know. Like I know they talk about pumping in music and stuff like that, or like a 2K crowd like they did in the NBA bubble. But I feel like this can be like it doesn't feel like a pickup game if there's no fans. Like in a summer pickup game where you just like play with a bunch of people that like from neighboring schools, but like I don't know how it's gonna work.
Do you think that benefits you, or would that stay the same for you? How do you think your game would change?
I don't think it'd hurt or affect my game. I
Mhm.
feel like it'd just be weird from the aspect of like that it's gonna be completely quiet in the gym. Like there's not like the only talking. You're gonna be able to hear everything everybody says the entire game. And I
Mhm.
think that's just gonna be a little weird in the beginning because you're gonna be like you're used to the crazy crowds, you're used to all that, but like now you don't hear anything.
Absolutely, man. Well, let's hope that you guys don't get any cases, and good
Oh,
luck on the upcoming season, man. And thanks for coming on again.
no problem.
Man, talk to you later. God bless.
You too.